Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and our topic for discussion for this segment of instruction is inflation. Inflation is defined as a general increase in prices. Over the years, there has been a general trend in the U.S. for prices to rise. There are a number of theories as to why this occurs. Inflation has a big impact on the economy. The purchasing power of money declines as price rises. If you look to the right, you'll see a picture of Germany after World War I, where it took a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread because inflation was so high. The government's response to unemployment and other problems was to just keep printing money. Economists use price indexes to calculate inflation and its impacts on prices. The price index is a measurement that shows how the average price of a standard group of goods changes over time. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is defined as a price index determined by measuring the price of a standard group of goods meant to represent the market basket of a typical urban consumer. A market basket is defined as a representative collection of goods and services. Major groups of products utilized in the calculation of CPI, or Consumer Price Index, include food and beverages, housing, apparel or clothing, transportation, medical care, recreation, and education and communication, as well as other goods and services. Calculating the Consumer Price Index. The Bureau of Labor Statistics establishes a base period which it compares with current prices. The current base period being used today is 1982 to 1983, which is a little more than 30 years ago. The market basket for that period has an index of 100. Every month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics updates the cost of the same market basket by checking prices. And the updated cost is compared to the base period to determine the index for that month. So if you look to the right, the formula is the updated cost of the consumer good divided by the base period cost times 100. So if the current market basket is $300 and the base period market basket is $150, 300 divided by 150 is 2 times 100 is 200. Consumer Price Index would be 200. Inflation. Inflation rate is the percentage rate of change in price level over time. Calculating the inflation rate is done as follows. To calculate the inflation rate, subtract this year's Consumer Price Index from last year's Consumer Price Index and divide that amount by last year's Consumer Price Index, then times this amount by 100. The calculation can also be performed for a monthly inflation rate. So if we calculate the inflation rate for 2004, you take the 2004 CPI minus the 2003 CPI divided by the 2003 CPI times 100. So if the CPI for 2004 is 188.9 and for 2003 is 184, you have 189.9 minus 184 divided by 184 times 100 equals 2.7% inflation. The core inflation rate is defined as the rate of inflation excluding the effects of food and energy prices. Hyperinflation is inflation that is basically out of control. Situations of hyperinflation when this happens, currency becomes basically worthless. On the right, you see kids playing with German currency after the First World War. In 1923, because of hyperinflation in Germany, their currency became practically worthless. Similar situations have occurred in Latin American countries because of their poor economic situations. There are a number of economic theories regarding the causes of inflation. There's the quantity theory. This theory states that too much money in the economy causes inflation. The more money there is, the less value it has. This theory holds that the key to controlling inflation is controlling the money supply. And there's the demand pull theory. And this theory is that inflation occurs when demand for goods and services exceeds the existing supply. This follows the basic principles of supply and demand that we discussed earlier in the course. And there is the cost push theory. This is the theory that inflation occurs when producers raise prices in order to meet increased costs. And what can result, according to economic theorists, is a wage price spiral. And this is the process by which rising wages cause higher prices, which in turn cause higher wages once again. Impacts of inflation. The most notable impact is a decline in consumer purchasing power. That is, your money will buy you less. Real income, which is defined as individuals who receive their income in the form of wages or salaries, experience a decline in the real income. That is, they are in effect making less than they were. So when inflation goes up, your wages are worth less money. So you're making less, in essence. And people on fixed incomes, that is, incomes that do not increase even when there is inflation, those are the people who are hurt dramatically. People on Social Security and retirements and disability and things like that. Social Security recipients receive cost of living adjustments to deal with this, but other sources of income do not increase, and this results in the fact that they have less to spend. That concludes our discussion on inflation. Thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lesson. Have a great day.